Hey everybody, welcome to another Talking Vandals podcast with myself, Noah Schmick, and of course the voice of the Idaho Vandals, Dennis Patchin. And Dennis, I know last time we were talking about this last week, we said maybe push the panic button if the Vandals are unable to get a win against the Eastern Washington Eagles. Well, final score 21-14, they fall in Cheney. Are you pushing the panic button yet?
Well, I can't. I do the games on the
That's
radio.
True.
I can't
You
push the panic button. Here's the concern, and I will say this before I talk about some other things. It's hard to win a football game with your fifth-string quarterback. The top two quarterbacks for Idaho were out. Joshua Wood was out, and people don't know Sorrentini is the backup quarterback. He was out. He's not available. Won't be back for this week. So they go to Jack Wagner, who's had some success, but he gets hurt near the end of the first half, so he's unavailable to play the rest of the half. Their fourth-string quarterback in that game was Rocco Koch. Fourth-string quarterback, once you stack it up, is Rocco Koch. They were only down 6 points in that quarter, but they couldn't get anything going offensively. He's a running quarterback. He was 0 for 6 throwing the football. Throwing the football is not his forte. When Eastern scored that 21st point, now down 2 touchdowns, they had to bring Nick Joseph in. He's the fifth-string quarterback. I guarantee you he took no snaps with the first-team offense this past week in preparation. It's hard to win with your fifth-string quarterback, but I'm out of everything. I haven't. The last time the Vandals won, I was clean-shaven. I wore my Hawaiian shirt, the Idaho Vandals. I thought about going with no pants today to try and break it, but I decided that probably wasn't a good thing on TV. So.
We're glad. Yeah, we're glad we have this desk here.
I'm joking. I have pants on.
He has pants on. Let's just talk. Not it's extremely fun game to watch. I'll even say it. I've had to watch that entire thing, and the funniest thing, I'm looking at the stats. The Vandals had more total yards than Eastern Washington. What went wrong? What happened? I don't know which way you want to go with that, but yeah.
I think the inability. Okay, there's a couple of things. Mm-hmm. Before we get to the bad, the defense played well enough to win that football game. Special teams, they had problems with field position. They went for it on the opening drive of the game inside their own 25-yard line on fourth down. Didn't get it. The defense stopped them, but it was a field position game. Eastern scored 10 points in the last minute and a half of the first half that really put them behind the 8 ball. Instead of going in at halftime ahead, they're behind. Some of those yardage in the second half was when they put Nick Joseph in to throw the football, and Eastern gave up about 30 yards on one drive before they forced the Vandals to punt. The other drive they scored the touchdown on. So half of the yards came on 2 drives, the first quarter touchdown drive, the last touchdown drive. At that point in time, Eastern was playing like a bend but don't break defense. So they were trying to keep everything in front of them, make them take the time. And really, Idaho didn't get an opportunity. They had seconds left when they got the football back down 7. So it's one of those games. Sometimes stats lie, and the stats kind of did lie in that game. A key turnover. And again, a bad punt, a 15-yard punt. I think it may have been partially blocked. I haven't gotten a clean on that, but yeah, it's just, Eastern took advantage of their opportunities, and then the big run by Nate Bell in the second half that gave him that third touchdown that really put Idaho behind the 8 ball. So.
Yeah, I agree with you on the positive of the defense. The defense did play much better against an Eastern Washington team that was playing Nate Bell at quarterback. But it's injuries, right? It's injuries that are plaguing the Vandals right now. Head coach Thomas Ford Jr. said after the game, he keeps saying it's on me. We've got to do a better job, whether it's play calling or something. But I almost want to say it's injuries, right? This is what is hurting this Vandals team right now. 2
of their key players, their top receiver, Julian Alexander, transferred in from Montana State, has not played a snap. Won't play a snap. He's out for the season. Julian Lee, their defensive tackle, probably their best pass rushing interior guy, has not played a down this season. He's out for the season. The Vandals were down to their fifth-string quarterback. Art Williams hasn't played, and I don't think he'll play the rest of the season. The Vandals were without 3 of their top 4 receivers, not only the quarterback situation. And I will, you got to give Eastern Washington credit defensively. They really stopped Eli Cummings and Nate Alexander, and Nate Thomas on the running game. Those two guys combined for 2 yards a carry in that game. So give them credit. Idaho had to do some things that they didn't want to do. If Idaho was going to win that football game against Eastern Washington because they were going to be able to run the football, get ahead, build a lead, and make Eastern Washington throw the football. That was a game, Noah, honestly, the first team that made the other team have to specifically throw the football a lot was going to win that game, and that happened to be Eastern Washington's defense. They made Idaho throw the football in a situation where they're having a hard time doing that.
Well, we don't have to dwell on this game anymore. Maybe let's talk about this next game coming
Thank
up.
you.
The good thing.
Vandal fans all over will thank you for that.
Exactly. Maybe we cut it here. No.
Well, let me give you one more stat. This is the first time in 10 years Idaho has lost 4 games in a row.
Oh, wow.
The last time they lost, the 4th game loss was at Auburn. A little different opponent than at Eastern Washington, but still, nonetheless, the first time in a decade they've lost 4 in a row.
Well, yeah, so they turn their attention now to a Portland State team that is winless so far on the season. They also get to come back to Moscow and play in the Kibbie Dome.
Yep.
I mean, is it just, you can't do much about the injuries, but is it just trying to build on what they have right now and try and solidify something for the next upcoming games? Because, I mean, Portland State's still going to come in there and give them a test.
Right. And Portland State is playing better football lately. The last few games they have been more competitive. 2 weeks ago they were in Cheney in a game that you saw on SWX. I was at that game. They did some good things in that game. They threw the football down the field, which could cause Idaho some problems. That's been their Achilles heel, is the deep ball. So we'll see if Portland State can pull that off. Portland State is having trouble stopping people, but Idaho is having trouble, with the exception of the game 2 weeks ago, moving the football and scoring touchdowns. So we'll see what happens there. Portland State is winless in the conference. Idaho is winless in the conference. Those are the last 2 teams without a Big Sky Conference win. So in essence, if you lose this football game, you may finish last in the conference because you'd have to. If the winner didn't win another game, you'd still have to win 2 games in the last 4 for Idaho to not finish in last place. So there's a lot to play for here. The other thing is Joshua Wood makes a big difference on this football team. The quarterback, the transfer from Fresno State. The offense at times has looked completely lost without him. We'll see if Idaho gets him back this week. Indications are he will play this week, but if you had to ask me, Dennis, bet the house on it, is he in the lineup? I would have to say I don't know. I think he's coming back this week, but we'll see. And he will make a big difference offensively if they can get him back.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about that. So, I mean, we've seen, Jack Wagner at a quarterback, Rocco Koch. Now, when Rocco is in, it's a lot of running the ball and trying to get it on the ground. When Joshua Wood is in, is it from a leadership perspective that he helps the team, or is it simply that he knows how to throw the ball down the field? He knows how to, run the ball, look through his progressions. How does he help the Vandals' offense?
I think he's different than all the rest of the quarterbacks that the Vandals has because he can not only run the football, but he can pass the football. He's effective in the scramble. He's their best guy when things break down in the pocket. Now, to be honest with you, they really didn't break down in the pocket last week. I thought the offensive line did a pretty good job in keeping the Eastern Washington Eagles off of whoever was playing the quarterback. But he's quicker. There's a funny line that people use. He's quick and he's fast, and that doesn't make a lot of sense. But if your first step is quick, you don't necessarily have to be fast. Or if you're fast and your first step isn't very quick. So if you have both of those, and he has both of those, it will be interesting to see what he can do offensively. This is a Vandal team that is kind of leaking water right now, a team that everyone thought was going to make it to the postseason, and a lot of people were thinking they'll get a first-round bye. If they win the rest of their games, they've got 5 games left, and the back 4 of this are not easy with Sac State, UC Davis, and Northern Arizona, and 2 of the 3 of those are on the road, and then you finish with a rivalry game against Idaho State. 7-5, I don't know if that gets you into the postseason, Noah. So they could win their last 5 games and still not get in. They have put themselves, even if they win their last 5 games. I think they beat Portland State. I just think it's at home. They're a better, more talented team than Portland State. I think they win this game. But that's not to say that they win any of the last 4 games the way they're playing right now. But I think Joshua Woods helps you. And you know what? This is a team in desperate need of a win for confidence. And I think if you get a victory, even over Portland State, I think you feel better about yourselves as you start to head in. But again, after Portland State, it's that short week. It's a Friday night game at Northern Arizona. You lose a day and a half of practice, which is not a good thing for a team that's trying to figure itself out.
So it doesn't get any easier. It also doesn't get too much harder with Portland State coming in, but we'll have to see how that game goes. It's a game on SWX. It'll be in the Kibbie Dome. It should be a fun game to watch. Dennis, we always appreciate your insight, and we're excited to see if the Vandals can start rolling off some wins and maybe make a push. Like you said, playoffs might be out of the picture, but it would be nice to get some momentum and get the fans back in the Kibbie Dome.
7-5 makes you uncomfortable on Saturday night sleeping before the selection show. 6-6 doesn't get you in. So I mean those are the scenarios here. Anything less than winning their last 5 games, they're not even uncomfortable. And I promise, if they don't beat Portland State, I'm not going to do something stupid like shave my head or do anything like that. I've given up on all my things. It's nothing I can do.
All right, keep the pants on. That's all I ask of you, and
Yes,
we'll
sir.
make sure to see you next week.
Yes, sir.
So perfect. We'll see you next week.